Please be aware that people are just trying to kill you when you can.
You should grab a seat at the table, Lola.
There are limited seats at the table.
That's what they're for sitting on.
Also, I'm going to mostly work on email, at least for a while, until I absorb enough to do a new animation.
Yeah, I haven't had enough of this to really know what I'm doing yet.
Yeah, that seems nice because
Yes, no, the stand is great, but you really do need an external keyboard, which is fine. Yes. I've sold more of these stands in cafes than I would like make me happy.
sold more of the stands, but not the keyboard.
Well,
Maybe some stands.
I'm actually talking over the stand that is amenable to this after the Kickstarter, after our Kickstarter. It's more that people see the stand. Sometimes they go, where did you get that? Can I get one? I actually need to go and update. I actually had a, I wonder if it still works. It may, or, I mean, it's carbon fiber. So I got asked about my setup enough for years ago. I registered laptopandcafe.com. And it is a pointer to the most recent time that I wrote up the setup I was using, which is, I've never actually done anything with the setup. I should when we're on Kickstarter. That's the, like, I'm sort of banking all of that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, Make wants me to do a guest post. Sure, when we're on Kickstarter. The current plan for Kickstarter is a roadshow. We need to get our car from here to Cisco. And what better, like, take a month, drive across the US, stopping wherever people have said, a cluster of people have said they want to see the keyboards. And then we have automatic daily video and text updates about what we're doing and plenty of time to go over things. Yeah. I'm hoping it's nice. I just need to make sure that it is not, I mean, right now it's looking like a January Kickstarter, and that means that we would probably favor the southern United States.
And also think about what was spent.
So the problem is we are now about 1 week late to launch by Thanksgiving, and I've talked to folks at IndieWebCamp and still waiting back on hearing from Kickstarter, but the last week of December we do not want to run into camp. And so we need to, yeah.
Yeah, it's better.
After January 15th, it's a little safer.
Here's how you think you were from scratch. Yeah.
Are you on?
Yeah, I've done that talk.
I got my business card.
The only maker thing I've actually done that talk in is Shanghai.
Set up on the site.
Because in the States, I but makerspaces is certainly on the list of. The laser conversions are what's easy. I mean, laser conversions is 4 sheets of plywood, drop the PCB in.
It comes back to
Usually all the hackerspaces have a laser cutter. The CNC, they use CNC. My experience is they usually have 2/3 of CNC.
Right.
I like how this blank lines are
I
expanded.
never used CNC before 2 weeks ago when I went to train architecture because the quotes I was getting for first architects were just too far out.
We've done
And it's easy, like, I can pay it, it's just how you need it.
You're kind of learning this way.
Learned a lot about,
Okay.
about the actual mechanics of CNC milling in 2 weeks, not really enough. But
What happens is,
good.
first there's introductions, then you do demos of stuff that they have
But yeah,
running
before that was all
outside.
walk.
There's an overview of principles.
They do?
Ideas, and then we do like conferences about waste applications.
Traveling?
Yeah.
Time?
Not the sidewalk sticker.
Yeah. Probably later.
One on.
It's all right. Have a good night.
Like I know.
Wednesday.
It might be guest log.
Yeah, because it's there, so it's not, because
There's
there's
like
recently.
and then
There's receipts on the shirt.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, like on the.
There's a debate, we should just shut up.
Sounds pretty busy. Is that like business?
Yeah, so it's right on.
Well, Sandra will through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
That's why we have what we have.
Is he coming?
He was here, he will be coming back. I think he was just,
This, the coat.
like 10 to, but we'll be back.
Is this yours?
That must be.
Is this yours? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Can tell because of the material.
I'm gonna move this right where you are,
Yeah, that way you can.
and you can sit on it, at it, not on it.
Here, do you mind if I, unplug
Whoa!
You okay?
Something moved in a way I did not expect.
the table?
I think it needs to like lock.
No, it was just, I didn't notice it was moving. I thought I was sliding it, and I was not sliding it, I was folding it.
Like that?
Yeah. That way there's more seats.
Then we should maybe scoot all this that way you still have between here and here.
It would be best
That's
to.
where we escaped email us.
But then there's only 2 extra seats.
It's okay.
Yeah?
Because there's an extra seat right there. And we only need 2 extra seats.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do that, and it's totally another seat there. Hey. That's better.
Well, if we can
Yes.
get this person taken down,
Hang out.
I'm sure that'd be fine.
So I've got another question, which is, you don't plug into the truck.
Is your laptop?
Yeah. Are they anyway?
WordPress is started, but I don't know that anybody got that one. Whatever I did. I had it working at one time.
Is that?
But I had WordPress.
Be bigger and Tessa's sitting here. I think I can move the camera in a way that that's not blocked. Yep. If I just put this here, it's perfect.
Yeah, I remember, I mean, I was so impressed because you sort of
Okay.
kind of,
So that's a seat. And this is not. Oh, did you end up with the large post-its?
Yeah, that's
yesterday?
the date from.
I did not. I ended up with some large post-its, but not all.
I didn't, because there was the sack of stuff that, yeah, the yarn.
Yeah, we went to the center to get the rest of it. However, these are the only colors. Oh, so you're just not using it. I'll probably just make it on this.
And so when people head out to see.
Oh, sure, I do it.
So they raised it.
The people.
Yes, as long as you don't sit right there. Oh, you can sit here. Yeah, wherever there are seats. Otherwise, there's a live stream.
No, well,
It's
Well, I think it's because, I think you have the option of doing 5-4, but it's not for all.
but 5-4 is the, there's more people.
Right.
The one time I didn't put stickers in my MacBook, it got stolen out of a cafe. Like, I got up to take a call, I had friends at the next table, and when they came up to me, a guy in a coffee green coat just sat down and took your laptop. And the sad thing was that it was brand new. Yeah.
I know, I was checking that out.
We've gone through this once already.
I was by my computer, of course. I was like, I lost my coffee. And sitting by my computer. Not ideal.
Yes.
Ah, there we go. Yeah. It's a bit about a minute.
Of course, always.
I've used RC for almost 10 years.
I hope it's treating you all right.
Good stuff. But when you
Yeah.
Twitter surf,
No, it's kind of neat. RT has a life of its own, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it's desperately close.
Yeah. Is that what this table puts?
Like anytime I know it's
a lot of people email us.
No worries. Hey, Jesse.
So the community.
yeah, first of all, RT, I worked for our baby.
Okay.
And then, yeah,
Isn't lots of places here kind of cool.
Do you know each other yet?
Day to day, so I delegated delegation about 2.5 years ago. And so it's every couple of weeks I chat with people about strategy and direction, not really any day-to-day involvement. This is my full-time job at this point, which is kind of fun. Yeah. Fun. This is not what the final form will look like, but it is what I wired together a couple of days before coming out here. This is the first test of the keycaps that Autodesk has been helping us design.
I like the idea that that's not its final form. Its final form would be super sexy. He gets like slightly giant blonde hair, and just like
We could probably do something like We've got software to do that. Though I've
We
just-
have the technology.
Yeah. Though I've discovered a small
Oh, right.
problem, so.
Whoa.
That's not creepy at all.
No, no.
Oh, just wait, it gets creepier.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I've had nightmares recently.
We good to go? Okay. We're starting like, what, 10 minutes late? That's not too bad. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the first ever IndieWebCamp Cambridge. I'm Tom Tech, one of your organizers. Aaron Precky, back there, is also a co-organizer. Amber Case, back there in the orange hoodie, is also a co-organizer. And so is Sandra Hawk, who's not here right now, but he works at W3C, which is on this floor, and he's the sponsor for the space. So he'll be here later, I'll point him out, and you can thank him then. But we're really excited to have everyone here, and having awesome discussions about your own website and about what you can build and make it even better. But I wanted to start you off with this parody that Aaron set up. It gives a little bit of, I guess, motivation.
Like this.
We can't change what the web has become, but we can change what it will be. A better web starts with your website.
Thanks to Squarespace for the actual ad.
So that was actually a Squarespace Super Bowl ad. So if you watch the Super Bowl this year,
Love the crowd.
or at least watch the ads for the Super Bowl, I don't know. That was kind of amazing that they actually put up an ad. The audio is untouched, right? And I think at the end it just says like,
It just says Squarespace instead of that. That's the only, yeah.
so funny coincidence. I just met the Squarespace CEO at Brooklyn Beta like a couple of days ago, and they are like super motivated to help automatically structure pages and add support for new web stuff. So
Yes.
cool. It's kind of amazing, yeah. So at some point we'll probably have to like, be like, oh, by the way, we need to see your ad. It's pretty funny. But so what you're watching here is our real-time IRC channel, and this is an awesome web archive of it. It's actually our IRC logs on the web, but they're updating in real time because Aaron added some amazing support for WebRTC. Is that what
Just website.
Oh, WebSockets. Okay. Is WebRTC the thing that's sending the also WebSockets? So it's just WebSockets. Very cool. Okay. Well, you are here in case you weren't sure. That's really weird. Just some quick infrastructure details. If there's any problems or issues, contact any organizer. We do have a code of conduct, so it's very important to us. It's on the wiki. You can go ahead and take a look at it. Basically, just be cool to each other, be respectful, that kind of thing. If there's any problems, you can contact any organizer for any reason whatsoever. The bathrooms are, if you walk outside, from looking out the door, you can see a red exit sign. If you walk towards that, then immediately past it on the left is the men's bathroom. And if instead, at the point you reach the red exit sign, you walk through this sort of open space seating area and get to like a corridor, a glass-lined corridor that says "See Sale" on one side. The women's bathroom is right on the other side of that. Is that about right? Did I describe that? Okay. Everyone's got a handy name tag. Some of us have modded them to say my URL is instead of my name is. basics. So brief history. Who here hasn't previously heard of IndieWebCamp, or like why are we here and all that? Or you all just like ready to get going? Okay. Well, long story short, in 2010, Aaron and I attended this conference in Portland called the Federated Social Web Summit. I think Matt was there too.
Yeah.
And for us, it was more like the Frustrated Social Web Summit, because we did a lot of discussions, it was inspiring, but nothing really got done. The next year, with Amber Case and with Crystal Beasley, we co-founded IndieWebCamp, also in Portland, and decided to focus on, hey, let's actually build stuff for our own sites, rather than trying to sort of solve the larger problem of federation or decentralization, or pick another isation long word, insert here. So, no, we just want to make our sites cool again, like they used to be. Yeah, or at least fun. So we did that, we started that, and then that just kind of took off. It's long story short. And so here we are today in 2014 in Cambridge. We've done a bunch of different IndieWebCamps, different cities. They've been in different countries, in Brighton, England, in Berlin was the one, right?
Yeah.
Brennan, this past year. This year has really grown up a lot, so that was pretty cool. We have a bunch of principles, but the basic principles, I think I can summarize in two, which is one, scratch your own itch. So work on like whatever is the next most important thing to you for your website. Like don't worry about solving the world's problems per se. Like you might get there. We might all like solve making awesome websites for everyone on the planet. But we believe that if you start with making an awesome website for yourself, then that gets you on like a feedback loop where then you just keep improving it. Which gets us to the second thing, which is self-dog fooding. And that's a really big principle of ours, which is if you have an awesome idea for something or a proposal, it's great to discuss it. The IRC channel is really welcoming for people to like toss out all kinds of random ideas. Today, we're here to do one full day of random discussions and brainstorms. But the next step should be, once you've talked about it, discussed it, get it working on your own website. And that's the best way of kind of proving something. Is like, hey, I got this great idea. I'm going to make it work on my own website. Here, it's working on my own website. Check it out. And that's a really powerful way to show that something can work and does work, and get other folks to try it out as well. So we're really about that. And let's see. So yes, today's brainstorming discussion sessions. We have 2 official rooms. There's this room, and we have another room, which is called Kiva, but it has a room number, which I took a picture of because I don't have memories for that kind of random data. It's not yet.
It's through the maze of the building, so not hard to
Is
find.
there cheese anywhere? You think Gary would make a room full of cheese after all. You find a secret cheese room.
Well, I don't think there's any cheese, but this room is actually painted yellow on the outside of the building. So it's 449. 3-digit numbers starting with 4 are pretty unique on this floor. So it's called Seminar Room, but it's a room that's like even bigger than this one, and there's plenty of seating, and there's a whiteboard. So we have 2 big rooms, plus we have the open seating area out there, and we have a schedule. Look at that. The link is not ready. Okay. And so one of the things you should take care of, changing the columns on there. Yeah. So we have kind of as many spaces as we want to make of this space. There's no one else here on this floor, like officially, that has any space reserved. The public spaces that we do have access to have been opened. So if there's no lock on it, that means that it's part of the space that we can use. But if there's a lock on it, don't break it. I guess it's the basic thing. Those are for the other MIT students to hang with. And tomorrow is going to be hack sessions. So whatever we think of today, or whatever you're inspired by today, tomorrow we'll do hack sessions. And this is all done in a bar camp style, in conference style, where we propose sessions, and then we have a session grid, and we do that today, and we do that tomorrow. So that is the basics of how the day's going to operate. What we found is that kicking off the day with a set of demos of anyone that wants to demo, here's something cool that works on my site today, or here's how I use my site today, would helps get the discussion started. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Amber, who's volunteered to kick off the demos, and let her demo
Okay.
the awesome thing she's got going today.
Note that I'm not entirely awake today.
Yeah, I think I'm not entirely awake yet either, but our coffee is.
Hopefully none of you are awake enough.
Do you need audio?
No. That would be great though. Indie audio.
Well, I think some people have it with them.
Okay, hi everyone. In this case, I'm going to show you some things that my site can do. First off, I'm going to take a picture of you guys. Try to get everybody here. It's really hard. You're going to get cut off in Instagram. Apologize. Add you back in. And then I'm going to post this picture on Instagram with a fast filter. This is the Strata Center, right? Strata. Oh.
Close.
If I contact public strategy.
I'm going to share this. And now when I share it to Instagram, there's this thing, this is the opposite of Posse. So Posse is post on your own site and then syndicate elsewhere. So basically you post the data to your site first, and then it gets syndicated out to all these other networks. So you own your data. This is the opposite of that, which is Pesos, which is basically post elsewhere and then syndicate back to your own site. So in this case, whenever I have posted something on Instagram, it will come back to my site. And here it is, Instagram photo on my site, all formatted nicely so that other people can consume it if they want. But I have a copy on my site, even though Instagram owns the data. I also have a copy, which is really fun. So I'll show you the opposite thing, which is, oh, and then there's a link back to the original Instagram. So the opposite is I'm going to use my domain name to sign into my site here. And I can use whatever profile I have linked to caseorganic.com to sign into my site to verify that that's me. So let's use Twitter. Sign into my site. Okay, now I'm logged into my site, so I can go down. Admin. This is running P2, which is something that Aaron built, and you can look it up on IndieWebCamp Cambridge. So I'm going to write a tweet. And then, so I have this. There's a tweet preview, and it's going to post it on my site first, and then it's going to link back from Twitter. It's going to give a little short URL to my original post on the site. I'm going to syndicate it to Twitter. I can syndicate it anywhere and send a copy. So hit post. Okay, so here it is. Now, if I go over to Twitter in a few seconds, here we go. So here is the tweet. It automatically goes to Twitter. If I click here, I have a URL shortener that does a short URL back here. Now, the fun thing about this is, if you say something on Twitter or Facebook, like a question, like, hey, do you know any great places to buy a hamburger in this area or something, then you might get a lot of responses. But they're not stored on your site, you don't own them, and then you have to go and copy and paste them into like a text pad document, make this list. If you guys go on Twitter and you respond to this tweet, it will show up not only on Twitter, but it'll go back to my site. It's a concept called backfeed, where I get all the responses, even if I posted this to both Twitter and Facebook. All the responses on Twitter and Facebook will come back to the post on the site. Yes?
I couldn't hear you, said the concept is called back something?
Oh, backfeed.
Backfeed.
It's done using this service called Bridgie. It's So you set up your site with Bridgie, and then anytime somebody posts a response to your tweet that you've syndicated out, you actually get cash on your site. So we'll see. Oh, here we go. Yay, hello. Perfect. And that's my demo.
Okay, who would like to go next? Ben?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just to prove that some people do have it. So this is my platform. This is known, and so Aaron and I are building this with help from the community, and you can see my platform when I log into it. It looks a little bit like Tumblr. It does a lot of what Amber just demoed on Peak. So I can post a status update and say, I'm demoing my site on Gnome, and I've got a choice of network to send it to. I can send it right now. I've got plugins. Everything in my system is all the content types and all the syndication endpoints are a plugin. I'm going to send it to LinkedIn because when I demo this, I never send it to LinkedIn because I never send anything to LinkedIn.
Who just did the terms of service, by the way?
Did they?
Yes.
I missed that.
This last week, I just got an email from them saying, by the way, we updated terms of service. In case it wasn't clear, you own your stuff and you always have all your stuff.
Beautiful. Right.
Which is kind of amazing to see that companies are doing that.
So I own this meaningless post that essentially been. So that's awesome. So I've got lots of different content types up by default. If I filter my content and show you everything I've posted recently, you'll see I've got this demo, I've got that audio, a bunch of status updates, a photo. I pushed from my phone, it's all responsive. I checked in and posited that to Foursquare. Checked in for a few purposes. I went somewhere. Because this was an Instagram, so this is doing what Amber did earlier and actually pulling it back using Onyogram and IndieWebCamp and Microhub to make that work. And my aim here was to make something. I was addicted to Twitter and addicted to Facebook, and my aim has been to make something that's as easy to use for myself as those sites were. And so I haven't posted directly to those sites since June last year as a result of that. So my next thing is, all of this is publishing out, right? And it seems to me that that's half the story, or less than half the story, with these networks. So the next kind of big project, I'm just going to show you my horrible in-progress interface here, and this is what I'm hoping to finish this weekend, is I'm starting to follow people. And this is sort of ugly, but by the end of this weekend, I'm going to have some kind of feed where I can see all the people who actually have websites, who I want to be connected to. I want to be able to sit in one stream and respond in line. And that's something that people have been playing with in the community a bit. We did something, kind of prototype at the IndieWebCamp in Portland, and I really want something in line on my website. So that's where I'm going with it. Known as a platform, we put it out in September with Gnome.com, and there are 3,500 other sites that are also running it now. And so that's been an interesting adventure this summer. So,
You say 4,500?
3,500, 4,500. Let's call that by the end of November. So, but yeah, that's where we're going. Thank you.
So I'm going to cheat a little bit and demo something that I demoed at the last IndieWebCamp, just because I don't think most of you guys were there. And that's bookmarks. So,
What was the last thing you did that?
UK?
We did remotely then.
Remotely, yes. So I'm going to find a URL on a bookmark, and I guess I'll bookmark the English. And I'm going to highlight the phrase here. Then I'm going to save it to my bookmark as well. And I've got this browser toolbar. This is a bookmark toolbar up here that I have tools that my site uses. So I click the little bookmark thing. And this opens up Quill, which is a client that I wrote that you can actually use as well to post to your own site. This is not part of my own website. And it found the highlighted text that I ran, filled in the title, filled in the URL, and I can type in a tag, and I can click save bookmark. And now it goes and this client goes and posts the bookmark to my website, which then runs it. So pretty seamless posting of bookmarks. And once I set this up, I've been using it a ton. Because it's way easier than what I was doing before, which was actually putting bookmarks into a WordPress file. So that was like basically 2 clicks with highlighted text that shows up as an excerpt. And now I've got my list of bookmarks on my website, which is pretty great. And they show up in the tags as well. So, if you want to use that on your own site, you can actually do it. You can go to build.p3k.io. When you sign in here, I'll sign out. When you sign in, actually I can't do it on my site because I already signed in once. I'm going to pretend I'm Ben. So it's going to check out Ben's website, and it's going to say, it's going to look for IndieWeb support and microweb support. And if he has support for that, it will start, it'll try to start the IndieWeb flow. And if it does not have support for microweb, it will say, hey, you should do this in order to support this website. Oh, and it looks like it found everything, so it directed immediately to off. I'm going to show one where there is not support for microweb. And here's what it says. It says, oh, I can't find your content. I can't find your choke network. I can't find your microweb. And basically, if you read this and go through the steps of setting this up, you can then use this app. So it's built-in docs for the site. So, and that's on using microwebs, which is the way that we've been doing, creating posts on our own indie websites from other applications. And that's IndieWebCamp.com/microweb.
That site was really helpful for me.
Okay.
I can show the animation that I started in a
Definitely.
Okay. Hello. I'm Willow, and I don't code in the same way, but my own itch to scratch is that I really enjoy when people tell the stories. This is a version that hasn't been edited down yet, it has been sped up. And we can either redo this or just put audio layer over top of it. But this is a story of why to be involved with IndieWebCamp. So usually these end up being about 5-minute videos or 3 minutes with fairly rapid pacing of dialogue over top that explains why these things matter in accessible format. I have a nominal understanding of things. I really enjoy the work that Case and Aaron have done, and I enjoy what I've read about IndieWebCamp, but help in writing a script to go with this would be super good. That way I don't misrepresent what it is you're doing in any way.
So if you run into a stopping point in your code or you're getting frustrated in some way, come over and talk to me and help make this even better. Cool?
Well, do you wanna make that a session early on?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that way we can get it done early.
Sweet. There you go. Do you need to try that?
Is there an user pad associated with the camp that I can add notes to and ask for people?
So, has everyone found the IRC channel, by the way? I just want to double check that. Or you can go through here, we'll put there's a web UI. Oh, yeah, okay. That works really well. Let me put that up here. Yeah. Wi-Fi, you want to use the status center. And they seem to not block IRC ports. But what you could also use is this one. So if you go to IndieWebCamp.com/IRC/today, !beta, then you can scroll to the bottom and click join, and there's a join button. Ah yes, so we're doing all the sessions and proposals in Etherpad. Linked from the
Aha, I got it, I'll put it in the channel.
Did you find it? It should be on the
Yeah.
main page.
Yep. Ding.
Yeah, there we go. Yay, fresh Etherpad.
I want to use the IndieWebCamp one.
Should we? All right, well, we're already in this one, so.
You can see, you now have eyes that actually
Okay. All right. So feel free to take notes, like on any of the sessions in the Etherpads or in IRC, and just to get them somewhere online so that they can persist and we can archive them for the sake of, see what happened at the camp. All the previous IndieWeb camps have Etherpads that we then turn into wiki pages, so you can kind of go explore and find what previous camps talked about. You might even find some of the same session topics keep coming up over and over again, and then it becomes really useful and handy to see how topics have evolved over time. So, with that, more housekeeping. Who wants to demo next?
You can use your laptop.
You can use laptop, yeah, totally. Sorry?
I haven't configured multiple on there, so.
possible to internally link on Etherpads?
Is it what?
Possible to internally link on Etherpads?
So internally link?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like put some symbol and then type a word and it creates a link to an Etherpad.
No, you just use URLs.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So if you make a URL to an Etherpad, that'll just work.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Because once you click on that, then the Etherpad will come into existence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my site.
All right.
And so a lot of these tools I've just kind of thrown in very fast, and I'm clearly not a designer. However, what I wanted to show was I logged in. I had originally started working on a It's gonna try and log in as you.
I guess so.
Do a private.
Wait a minute.
It's not gonna make it. Ah,
That's better, yeah.
Do that. That's the right approach on someone else's machine.
I love two-factor authentication. Except when I leave my phone halfway across the room.
Because in this case, it's one factor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, technically, I suppose. Yeah, it would be.
So while Ben's typing that in, what he's doing is he set up his site to sign in via a one-time key that is generated by the Google Authenticator app. So any of you have like two-factor auth set up, where your sign-ins to various services like Twitter or Google or Facebook. The IndieAuth actually has a way of saying, just use the Google Authenticator key to do that. And what that lets you do is sign into some random person's computer to use your site without ever typing in your password for anything. So if you don't know, like, do I have a keylogger installed or not? Like, I don't think I do, but if my machine's been hacked and you're using it or something, then you can be like, I can just type whatever I want, and one-time code that can't be reused through time. So it's kind of a really powerful part of IndieAuth right now.
So I started out making like a big convoluted admin interface. This whole site is based off of OpenCart, which I just tore out anything to do with sales or anything like that. But rather than do so because I logged in just on the main page, you don't have access to post. Well, this is kind of like Quill that was shown in the microphone client. I can actually log in and give myself access here. Let's do this again. And let's say it says access to post. Okay. There we go. So it actually doesn't just post, I've actually just added a whole bunch of other features like that. Photos blur. So if I hit delete, I go back to my page, it says deleted. Now anybody else, if you load the site right now, it's gone. But of course, maybe I deleted by accident. Undelete, added it to Microsoft support. I can edit, create new. Actually, new has a lot of options. I just created like bookmark at RSVP. Everything's kind of set up real pretty. But what's really neat is, so of course this is an open endpoint. Anybody can use it. You can log into this if your site supports Microclub. And let's say so let's see one of the posts. If I were somebody else using this endpoint, and I went to their URL equals something, it'll actually pull in the content from their site. So so that I could repost your post easily, or just if your endpoint supported editing, do the editing right there. And so right now this is part of my site, but it is very easy for me to break this off into its own library, which I plan to do eventually. As soon as I finish all the functionality, which may be never. But that's it.
How did it get that content from the site?
It is actually pulling it down from PHP as a curl to your site, parses the microformats, and then we'll just throw it into the appropriate fields. Actually, one of the things I want to do is when you go to edit a post, I want to have support for it recognizing what type of post it was, so it'll know that on that we'll change it to a check-in or a like or whatever, and can edit as you want there. But that's it. Move on there.
That's really cool. So the undelete, delete, when did you, is that pretty recent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Past couple of weeks I've been working on microphone at home.
Hey Chris, do a demo?
Yeah.
Yeah, do a demo.
Does anyone else implement delete or undelete on their microphone endpoints? Or even like UI? Like,
I don't know, that's pretty, so what's it, is it like a time period definitely? How's that work?
No, I just leave it in the database, it's just, so if I'm logged in as a site admin, I can see all my deleted posts. So, actually, it comes in real handy with the new post for doing drafts. So if I create a draft of anything, I didn't even show it. Inside, above recent posts, when I'm logged in as lead, it shows drafts, recent drafts, suits. Just click it and repost it.
The anxiety with that darkness is, when it switches, you don't know what's next one, it's really provoking.
Now, do you permanently return 410 when you delete it? Okay.
They have a deleted page, but they also return it.
What's that?
So this is probably something really, really simple that you guys could do in a few hours or days or something. But it's something that meant a tremendous amount to me that no longer exists. It actually, today's my birthday. And it's shutting, thank you. And it's actually shutting down today. Yeah, which was kind of unfortunate. Thank you. I didn't know it was shutting down today until I just went to their website because I knew it was shutting down. I already exported all my data and put it someplace else. This is a simple kind of, I like to call it perspective as a service sites. There's a couple of apps that do this really well, Time Hop, Memoir. But it's very similar in vein to what IndieWebCamp is doing with moving your data someplace that you own. But what I like about it is it adds the option of giving you something random. So, for example, I would just get these emails randomly every day with an arbitrary number that was generated somewhere. It would tell me something that I created on that day. And it allowed me to have a wormhole in email back to a moment in time that checked me into kind of this kind reality. And I don't think it's a very complicated service, and I thought about reaching out and just buying them. But then I thought, well, that's just silly because I don't want everybody else's data that's in there or dealing with that. So
I think IndieWebCamp could help with this, this idea of like putting all my stuff on one central site instead of how I do it on the calendar. But ultimately, I would really love to know if anyone has any solutions or thought about how to representing that data back to you. Because for me, that's really the beauty of it. If you can't kind of check back into the moment, for me at least, it's something that is really profound. Time Hop, I said check that out on Memoir. Those are both kind of neat because you can actually do here, it shows you all the things you've ever done there, pictures, posts, test, everything else. So Time Hop, Memoir, and then OI is kind of the three perspective as a service house. But I heard Kate say once low tech is best tech, and once I found this site, I kind of used it addictively. Because I could just text myself or email myself and randomly get texts or emails from the past about the future. So that's it. It's not a demo as much as it's a plea if you know anything like this, let me know. Thanks.
Can I just ask a question? So you want something that will allow you to go back to old?
No, I want everything allows you to go back. I don't think to go back. I want something that sends me a message that tells me what happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's great because I would just get an email and they're like, oh, there's an email. And it would say, 321 days ago, you said this. And it would pull from some site randomly. Or more importantly, it'd be something that I wrote. So like when I get that email that said 321 days ago, you said this, I would reply and say, I'm at IndieWebCamp today in Boston, it's rainy, it's my birthday, I just told everyone it's my birthday, and they sympathy applause. And then sometime in the future, like it would say 900 days from now, I would get this email that says, 900 days ago, you wrote you were at IndieWebCamp. You understand?
Yeah.
So it creates this redundant, beautiful loop that constantly forces you back into the moment. And it meant so much to me. Thanks.
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of people talk about those kinds of sites that like send you stuff. But this is the first time someone's pointed out you could do that with your own website.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do IndieWebCamp like first since like Aaron told me about it.
Yeah.
But I want my information to come back to me randomly.
So you could just have on your server like your own Indie Time Hop.
Yeah, my own Indie Time Hop.
That would just email you.
Instead of Lindy Time, instead of Lindy Hop, it's an Indie.
Instead of Lindy Hop, it's Indie Hop?
Yes.
Oh, boy. That's very cool. Yeah, that sounds like a fun thing. I would be interested, like, I think you should propose a session on how would that work, Chris?
Okay.
And maybe even like do some brainstorming, like how to potentially build it. Because it feels like the kind of thing that doesn't sound that hard, like pick your random numbers.
Well, I mean, I told some developers at the company where I'm at, and they're like, we'll just write that for you. And I thought, that's not just for me. I mean, so many people, if you're changed profoundly every day that you get a memory from the past sent to you, you cannot help but move forward faster.
Right, it could be done as a service. Yeah, great. Definitely propose a session. That sounds like a great topic. Oh, I see Case is adding the OLife to our site test page. Have you guys seen that page, by the way?
If you know of any sites that are about to shut down, there's a page that I like to maintain called IndieWebCamp.com/site-deaths. It's all the sites that die. It's just a graveyard. It's really fun to.
Do you contact them and try to save them?
Heck no. I just record it in
Scott's job.
That's Archive Team's job. Yeah, we are big fans of Archive Team.
I am big fans of Jason Scott. And
No, but Archive Team doesn't provide services. I mean, does anyone contact them and say, oh, we'll just maintain that service?
No. Because usually you hear about it when it's already prepared to shut down or has been bought. And there's like a little web page that says, export your data, or we're not going to allow you to export your data, but we're shutting down. Ha ha.
Also, typically things that are shutting down were big enough that it wasn't just a server that you could just keep running without significant effort.
Like a $10 million.
OLife is expensive to run?
No, it's not. That's the thing. I mean, I asked them, they didn't have that many users, but that's why I just thought I'll just buy it. But then I don't want to get involved with other people's information and stuff. I just want the technology behind it, and I just want to make it available to anyone.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like if someone's willing to buy the IP from them and someone else is willing to host the service, it wouldn't be that expensive to run OLife.
But then, ultimately, I think texting is even better than emailing, so,
That's true, but there are a lot of interesting people in the small audience that use OLife, like Kevin Kelly loved OLife, right? Like, there are awesome people who got a big kick out of it, who would be happy to see the service. Yeah.
And they would probably pay some money. like $20 a year.
It's amazing that there's an XKCD for almost anything these days. But if you guys see this one.
It's become aware.
Number 1361, yeah. Well, I guess you didn't want to wait for number 8888 to do that. Yeah, so site dev page is an upcoming, like, so if you know of a site dev, you can post it up here, like announcements. You hear something's going to, but just because something's announced doesn't mean it has to shut down, right? Because there's some of these that look like them in the past, but they potentially haven't shut down.
If that was now not shutting down.
Right, so that's why you put them in the upcoming, and then
Yeah.
some of the upcoming ones might be in the past, but not have shut down because,
Oh, this is good.
yeah. that is
Can you
good.
send
Well,
me
I think
more
Orchid
guys
is
to
actually
that
shut
how
down,
it's
right?
not shutting down?
Let me see if I can
And
find
then
it.
I'll add it to the list. Shutting down.
Yeah, Yahoo's
Spreadsheet.
Yahoo's turning off their directory by the end of the year. It's kind of crazy.
That's interesting.
And then there's sites that are like in the process of dying.
Yeah, the original thing is gone. So
And
weird.
then there's all the past stuff.
I guess they don't need help with listing out sources for their research
Yeah.
dissertation.
Have you guys seen Our Incredible Journey?
Yeah, the best site ever.
Okay. So this is a whole Tumblr that basically captures the announcements of startups being acquired, and they're like,
All announcements of site shutdowns and acquisitions take the same form. We are excited to join forces with a new company. It's been an incredible journey. Our original product will be shut down, but we're super happy. And that's about it. Thank you for giving us all of your data and your support, but we will no longer support your existence.
I don't think they're even trying to be cliche. They actually all use the same words.
You have to because it's politically correct when you get the company acquired. I mean, we use
They
this,
have to
we use the
Yahoo
same
legal
language when we
just as a
got.
template.
Oh, you could just do a site that auto-generates your shutdown message.
Yeah.
Shutdown messages as a service.
It's shut down more Epsilon.
I'm tired of all of your...
Shutdown.us.
Yeah.
Shutdown.club.
Shut down
Also have
Giving
a
it all
lovely
up.
repository of
Our
sunset.
service is for you.
Sunset
We take
Club.
care of the hard
It's the
parts.
sunset.
What it really is, it's our incredible journey where you have like a flower or a cloud or a mountain that you're going to climb together with the acquired company.
It's always a
But-
cloud.
Yes, and then a year or 2 or 3 later, when your vesting is done, then you have the sunset.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
You climb the cloud to see the sunset better.
Oh, right.
I like their icon the most here, which is the broken image icon. It's like the really old Netscape broken image icon. Those of you that haven't seen that before. Anyway,
Today is an exciting
It's-
day.
it would be, yeah, it would be funny if it wasn't so sad, or maybe it's funny because it's so sad. I don't know.
But okay, on the subject of OLife, since it seems like an opportunity to do this the right way, take a site that people use that's going down that could become part of the IndieWeb. If there's going to be a hacking session on that. In addition, I don't think the hacking session needs to be how would you build something new. I think it could just be how could the people in this room make a acquisition and rehosting work.
Or just add it to a plugin for like Known or something where it's like, here's some code and you can add it to your site and therefore you have a postal space and just send it to your future self or put it
Chris,
in
there's
the
definitely interest in this discussion session. So,
I don't want to sound morbid, but I just feel like part of me is dead because I'll never get those things served back to
You
me,
could
and I won't go
scrape
looking
your
for
website
them.
for the private post that you did. That would mean that you would have a private post and then it would scrape the private post because it had India.
I'll show a really brief demo of something I got, like some changes in some work I did at the last IndieWebCamp. So, which I guess happens pretty often. Like, what we're going to do is after tomorrow's hack day, we're going to have more demos of like what you got working this weekend. And so it makes sense, like if you go to more than one IndieWebCamp, you might take the thing you got working and demonstrate that the next time. Or if you haven't been to one before, demonstrate the awesome stuff you have gotten working, like what Ben just did with the delete and undelete stuff. That's pretty awesome. I don't know of any blogging services that do undelete. Like I think you just built a feature that no one else does. That's pretty cool.
I've seen people do something like it by having markup post as only, visible only to me, and then, which is what this isn't. It's not really deleted. It's,
Yeah.
I figure storage is so cheap, you know,
Yeah, it's a reasonable UI.
So we'll go back to the post that Ben was showing on my site, this one. Oh, by the way, please don't ever use wording like this on your cancel dialogue. Are you sure you want to cancel? Cancel, okay.
Ah.
It's a real GitHub battle. The guy tweeting about it picked the wrong one, he said.
Oh.
Oh
He doesn't even tell you which one's the right one, right?
Well, you can find out by starting with cancel.
no. You just hit escape.
I always just click yes on any of those, because I don't know.
Well, I think that's why in Windows they usually have the abort button.
Yeah.
So you're like, just stop whatever you're doing.
I just have this program called JavaCut, which saves the last 50 of my copy things into a buffer zone. And so every time I fill in any form field, I automatically copy it and store it in that buffer zone.
Wait, how do you have that set up?
I just download this thing called JumpCut, and it just saves at up to 50 copies in this buffer zone.
Okay.
The only issue is when you load your computer and you don't have it set to auto start, and I start copying everything in like I usually do, and then realize I haven't loaded the program, and then I've lost the last 50 pieces.
It exists for all, something like that exists for all operating systems, because I think I started with it on Windows and had to find something like it on Mac, and now I'm on Linux, and there's something called Clip that does it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how people live without clipboard.
Yeah, it's great. There's also a thing called text expander, so you could type in like 3 letters and it'll expand into like however many words you want. So you could
Mac
put like,
actually has that built in too.
what has built in?
That's built into OS X as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, on my iPhone, I just use a keyboard shortcut under keyboards, and I use MMM, and that fills in my email address.
Yeah.
So when I'm logging into sites, I just do MMM, and it puts my email address in.
Clearly you guys are itching to get to discussions. So
Sorry.
I'll wrap up this demo. The only thing I got working last time was going through and figuring out the UI of how different silos do web actions in their streams. So on my homepage, I don't actually have any actions you can click, like reply or favorite or any of those things. My goal was to try to get that working. I didn't get it working, but I did get all the research done for like how are silos doing it today, what are they kind of converging on, what methods are they doing. But what I did get working is 2 things. One, I worked with Jeremy Keith and Kelly Wasserman to get indie actions working, which are these tags that you can add to your buttons. Like these all go to Twitter. So if I click like, it goes to Twitter and like gives me the option to like that button. I mean like that post, the copy of it on Twitter. But it also, if you view the source of this, and I'll just do, there we go. You can see that there's a indie action tag there, and that's a new tag. That's a web component. You can tell that it's got the dash in it, and it has 2 pieces. One, what is the action? In this case, it's like a small control vocabulary. Do equals like. There's other ones like reply, repost, and those are all documented on the wiki. And then a with attribute that's a URL that basically tells you like the direct object. Like if you do, what does this action act upon? And the point of that is twofold. One, if you've got a browser extension installed, like Barnaby's written one, he's one of our community members in the UK, that recognizes those and turns those into buttons that act on your own site. Which then, so instead of liking this on Twitter, it turns it into a like post on your site, like the UI that Ben Roberts showed, or the UI that Ben Wordmiller showed. So Ben's and particularly cool is the reply button, which they showed a demo of in the UK between Pelly's site and Barnaby's site, where you click that and then it took them directly to the reply UI. So there was no like copying and pasting of URLs or anything like that. And I think that's an area that you look at new social silos like Elo and the such coming out, and I think part of the appeal of all these social silos is wherever I'm reading a post, I can just click reply right there and start typing. And that's something we don't have yet on the IndieWeb. We think it's possible. No one has built it yet. We have the ability to click reply and go to another screen, another window, and reply. But we haven't built like click reply and there's like a little text area or like an iframe or something where you can type in and then hit reply and have it just all work. the way it kind of seamlessly works on Twitter and Facebook and every other silo. It does that, but
Something they're doing that with Shrewdness now, yeah, that working.
with his iframe,
Yeah. No, it wasn't using any actions, it was just a reply using the micro.
It's working with Shrewdness, which is a reader not on site.
Oh.
So within the reader it works.
right?
Yeah, which is slightly different.
Yeah, but you're right, it's a step in that direction.
Yeah, it's close.
But that's one of the things that if we get that working, like even just within one system, like if Aaron got that working in P3K and P, or if Ben and Aaron got that working in Known, then someone using one of those sites that also has, uses that same software or uses software that supports these indie actions could click type reply and make it work. So that's one of the things that I'd like to work on this weekend for anyone that's interested. Is this whole like smoothness of making the replies and things work across sites. Yeah.
Oh, I was just wondering, are we gonna do, can I do a demo too, a quick demo?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on up. So that's as far as I got. That process did actually make me do new layout on my home page for my posts, where I moved the mod date, the publish date over to the right, added these little separators, and now I have space to put the buttons, but I didn't actually get to the point of putting the buttons there in stream. So I have more. Like any good project, there's always like more stuff to do, and it's okay. Just keep iterating, keep launching, keep working in public. It's all good. Cool.
We do a desktop. Hi, so my name is Philip Durkin. And when I picked the domain, I wanted something that would screen Unix, so I took the grep and the grep tile and came That's awesome. So, just like walk through a couple of the things I'm doing. First of all, this is my little kind of cheesy thing. So wiki.reptilian.com. We talked earlier, Tom mentioned what are the itches you're trying to scratch. So I guess now we're going to talk about 3 itches. The first would be owning your own data. The second would be building a community. And the third would be reproducibility of results. So under the owning your own data, this has been my solution. It's been to store my wiki in Git. And I talked about this in the IndieWebCamp channel a little bit. My wiki is based on IndieWebCamp. And there's a page on the IndieWebCamp wiki about this. And IndieWebCamp is created by Joey Hess, who has a company called Branchable. And I just thought I'd read this quote from their mother. So this is the Branchable page on the IndieWebCamp wiki. So everyone should own and control their data. So when you make a site on Branchable, we don't lock you in. You can use Git to download the entire source code of your website at any time and move it elsewhere from the site. So this is very important to me. And this is the reason why I use Git to choose that. I can just always pull out the code, which is in Markdown. So that's the owning your own data liberation platform. From the homepage of my wiki, I say that I have a few hunts. And these hunts are all IRC channels. And I'm fairly new to IRC, I've only been into it for a few years, but I've found a lot of value in channels that are long, just like I would with channel long. It's neat to see all the improvements Aaron's made. It started off with kind of basic logging, and now it keeps getting better and better. Like now, next to everyone's name, you have a logo, just like the favorite con, click, and go right to their sites. And, the IRC logger that I run is not really fancy, but so if I go to, so this is irclog.com. I'm only logging 3 channels, but if I find a cool channel and I ask, hey, is anyone into logging this thing, I'll send it my bot. But the bot is not one I wrote myself. This one is written by Moritz. I forget his last name. It's called Illbot. It's IRC logging bot. If my name is Phil, I call mine Philbot. So if you see Philbot, that's my bot for what's going. So let's look at, yesterday I was in, this isn't my channel, this guy, I think who started this channel called Friend of John, and I hang out there. And so like, hey, you know, I want a channel, I was like, sure. So this is us yesterday just talking about Tom Haley, which I last week. So back to comments. I also run a logging bot at work. So very a couple of days ago, just talking about shibboleth support. I implemented the application for it's called Dataverse. Open source. It's a way for people to upload their data and get citation for the site and use data. Primarily for academics, but it's free to use. So Dataverse is all about reproducibility, and just a quick note about reproducibility of my own website is on GitHub. I have a repo called so GitHub.com I have a 20-dash vagrant. I don't know if people use a vagrant at all, but a lot of that's great. What this means is that someone can just clone this repo, type vagrant up, and then they get a working server that responds. So you're like, hey, how did you set up that? How did you set up your IRC logger? All the configuration is stored in this repo. I haven't used it right now. Doesn't really matter. The point of vagrant is you just type vagrant up and you get a working box. Running in a virtual machine. That's it. Owning your own data, building a community, and reproducibility.
Yeah, do it. Up there. While it's getting set up, is there anyone else that wants to demo before we jump into doing session proposals?
All right, so what I want to show you all is from
Tim Owens.
Tim Owens. So by way of introduction, this demo will kind of give you an idea of where I'm coming from, which is higher education, which was our introduction to IndieWeb by way of Ben and the Gnome group. So we have a project at the University of Mary Washington, Virginia called Domain One Zone. And you'll see how this fits in pretty closely with IndieWeb because we're actually giving every student, faculty, and staff who wants one domain and web hosting and helping them build out their space. We thought it was really important. It was something that tied into our values. And so this is the site, umw.domains or umwdomains.com. Either will work. What I wanted to demo for you is specifically one type of integration that we've done, an integration with Node, specifically and how we're able to use a system like this in really interesting ways to enable classes. So when students log in, they log in with their university credentials, and they get to choose their domain and sign up, and then they're redirected right back into the page, and they have cPanel. They have the domain, they have hosting, and they're ready to go, and they can start playing around in here. We don't have any restrictions other than having, just one domain, just because those cost money. But see, I have timgetsaTestDomain.com. I'm going to put in here IndieWeb as a subdomain, so they can create as many subdomains as they want. Yeah, I did that for a demo, not knowing that it wasn't in a sandbox environment, and it actually registered it, and I said, well, guess it's mine now. So now I use it for all my demos, and I actually kind of like that. Create the subdomain here, and we use a plugin for cPanel called Installatron. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's not open source, unfortunately, but it's pretty powerful. It's one of those one-click installers. But what's powerful about it for us is that in addition to the software library that they put out, which includes open source applications like WordPress and others, I think there's over 100 in their software library that you can see here, they also have a full API and SDK for you to build your own, or to tie in and do custom functions on top of ones that already exist. So a good example of that is if they go to install WordPress, click to install this application, we can actually add extra things in there. So these are templates for WordPress. So instead of just getting a hello world post or something boring like that, it's stuff for that faculty member identified. I want my students to have these categories. I want them to have these themes available to them. This is a computer science class, so make it automatically work with GitHub and be able to embed content and do things. So we can put plugins and themes in there that we know they're going to need as a part of their class. Or they can just get a clean WordPress install. So that's one way that we customize it. We can also build our own applications, and that's why I got really excited when we started talking with Ben, which was right around the same time. I think just a week or two before that, you had rolled out MySQL support. And this is a standard LAMP environment. And I said, we can make that work in our environment. So we actually have a section up here, education. It's the first thing they see when they go to install an application. And we can create packages in here that students can install. And so Known is one of those packages now. So any student can get a domain and get up and running with Known. So I created that subdomain. It's going to be in this list. So there we go. IndieWeb.timgetsaTestDomain. And Ben graciously lent us some code that is used, I believe, to run with Known.com, right, as part of the sign-up process. And we were able to use that with courses. So a great example of this is I have a colleague and business partner and friend, Jim Broom, who is teaching a course right now on The Wire. And so he teaches a class called DS106, which is a digital storytelling class. Also, Complete Rabbit Hole, ds106.us. It was an open online class that has like its own community and following, and it's a lot of fun. So he has up on his site a hub instance of Known, basically the same type of code that would run with Known.com to allow signups. But the students don't have to go here and sign up. They don't have to necessarily go to the hub site at all. They're going to their own domain and installing Known. And you can see any other faculty member could choose here as a part of their Known install to make it a hub. But the students, when they go to install it, like I'm going to do now, and they might say, yeah, I'm in Jim's digital storytelling class, I'm a student, and I want to connect to an existing hub. And they would choose CS106 in there. So instead of just a default Known install, it's going to add the extra code and plugins that are necessary to make that connection with hub.wire106.com. And all they had to do was choose from a drop-down. So as this goes through, you'll see, this is like most installs, it's done. So, and it's like that for every install, which is powerful because you can go from having nothing to having a domain with WordPress or Known in a matter of, I think, 5 minutes or so. Awesome. So they hit getting started here. Tim Owens. When they're registering, it's registering on that Wire 106 hub. publisher. And we put in our website. It is. It goes back to when I had an AOL Instant Messenger account. And half of the rest of the world already had found AOL, and so, and here I am, 16 years old, it's the 90s, and I'm like, I'll just keep adding M's until it works.
You should have a meetup with
And now I'm like-
Tim, and the
Yeah.
rest of my
Do I know you? Yeah, and now I'm like digging my heels in the sand because I'm just like, I've used it for so long, and it's my Twitter handle, it's everything, that it's like to change it would be difficult. So you'll see now I'm connecting to my social networks, but look at the URL. So I'm on this site, which is nice because if you've used Gnome, you know that setting up those OAuth clients can be a pain in the ass. Students don't have to do that because the faculty member working with us in my group, and in this case Jim works in that group, so he knew how to do it himself, has set up those applications already, and it's just passing it through. So I'm going to choose Twitter as an option, and so you see Wire 106 is its own Twitter OAuth application. I'm logged in here, so I'll authorize that one. And I might choose Flickr as well. It's already logged in, so that one, because I've already done that demo before, it's already connected in there. And now I'll say continue. And then at that point, they have a basic Gnome install. We put some plugins in there for audio, for visual type stuff in there. We make certain ones default on here. Ben's going to give me a hard time because this is out of date.
Very old.
Very old in the context of someone who updates about every 5 minutes on their GitHub. Repo is a little different. So here's what's powerful. For us, this is about student agency because like they have their own space, they can create their own node site, and when they go to publish things, they can choose whether to just publish them on their space or to also syndicate to Twitter and elsewhere, but also to that course site. So they can push content to the faculty member as a part of an assignment that they had to do while still retaining control of it, which is important to us. And it's, why we're clicking so much with all of this IndieWeb stuff in a big way. So, demoing So I'm going to syndicate to both of those and then publish that. So I went to my Twitter account, didn't have to set up any OAuth applications or anything like that. But if I go to the Wire 106 hub, so now I'm the most recent post on that course hub. And that hub includes every student's post that's in there. And so that faculty member can say, show me all of the audio posts across all of my students. Or they can click on various tag, large one, they can filter out what they need for their class. The students still retain control, and when I click on a permalink to something, it goes to that student's site. And so that's where the content originally lives that they publish it back there. So that's one example of a way that we're able to customize it and sort of we're all about building stuff in for classes and for the university and for students, stuff like that. Just these really customized interfaces. And so for us, having a full length environment where we can hack on it and make it really dead simple for them to get started doing stuff like this, I think we're in a little bit of a bubble sometimes to not realize just how powerful even just the basic cPanel LAMP environment, installing software, doing something like this can be. And so sort of helping them to get their feet wet doing this, and then they can take it when they leave. The domain belongs to them, and so they can take that and build on that. So, demo. They do. We have an interface for them to get their EPP code and transfer it out of our system. We won't pay for it in perpetuity because we're a small liberal arts college. We don't have those huge endowments. But we've partnered with HostGator who will do a migration for them of all of their content. I think it's a really good deal. So I think it's like $25 or something, and all of their content, their domain, they can move it all onto another system and retain it forever.
The yearbook that never ends.
Hey, Tante?
Yep.
I have to leave, so I feel bad about demoing anything, but there are two non-sites, just interstitial things I'd be happy to talk about for 1 minute. Is that cool?
Are they on your own site, at least?
Are they on my own site?
Yeah.
No, they're tools that I use when building sites.
Oh, okay.
Is that out of band?
It's a little bit out of it. You've got it for a discussion session?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so. If you
I'll leave a note for discussion session.
Awesome.
Or remote.
Okay, very
Good.
good. Any other personal site demos that folks want to do before we kick off the schedule? All right. Reload this wiki page to see if it's been updated. Okay, we will update. We have the time set out there on the table. How many of you have been to a bar camp or unconference type thing before? Okay, so most of you have a pretty good idea how this works. So here's the key. You all saw some awesome demos of like amazing and different things people got working on their own sites. Maybe you already had an idea of things you want to talk about for IndieWeb development on your own site. Any IndieWeb topic is like within scope. So anything you want to do on your own site, whether you have any idea how to do it or not, you can always lead a discussion and be like, I want to figure this out. It's fair game. So the basic process for proposing a session is you take one of these little sticky notes and a pen, and you write down 3 things. The first is a very short, brief description of your session. It can be a single word, it can be a phrase. I can, like for example, I want to talk about web actions. Like web actions would be a session title. Or if you want to talk about somebody else wants, they'll example. You want to talk about micropub, like how do I build a micropub endpoint to my site so that I can publish on it, or micropub clients, or you want to talk about different post types, etc. So that's one session topic. The second thing you put down is your name. So you're basically saying, hey, I'm interested in leading this session discussion. And the third thing you put down is a hashtag for your session. And that hashtag has 2 purposes. One, you can use that then on any posts about your session. So if you take pictures, tag it with your hashtag and IndieWebCamp. If you write notes, if you publish on your own site about the session, you can always tag it with your hashtag. And finally, create an Etherpad with the name IndieWeb dash the name of the hashtag. So there's the if you see the main on the main site, on the 2014 Cambridge site, there's an Etherpad that people have already been editing. There you go. And when you have a new session, such as web actions, you make a new one. So for example, I would say this is, and instead of IndieWebCamp Cambridge, Aaron, are we using IndieWeb or IndieWebCamp as the prefix? Do you remember? All right, let's find out. Ah, it turned purple, so that means it's IndieWebCamp. Okay. Thank you, browser memory. Okay, so for example, this was a session I led at IndieWebCamp UK on web actions, and yeah, and you see there was actually a previous session, and that was left here too. So that's okay. If that Etherpad already exists, that's okay. You don't need to create a new one. It's actually good that you just keep the conversation going. Just go ahead and put a little previous session thing and push down all the previous content and put your stuff on top. So, right. So whatever tag you pick for that third thing, start with this part, etherpad.mozilla.org/IndieWebCamp dash, hashtag, yo Etherpad, take session notes in your session. Everyone in the session should feel free to contribute to that. And afterwards, it'd be great to copy to the wiki. It's not required. One of us will probably eventually get around to it. As long as it's linked from this main Etherpad. That's the key. So, session organizers, when you're doing your session, it's your responsibility to like put your Etherpad in there. Cool. All right. Any questions about doing sessions? Let's go ahead and do this.
Just wondering about what time is lunch or sessions versus lunches.
Aha, great question. So we have a schedule. Let's check that out. Which we're probably running about, what, it says it's 11:30 now, we're probably running about half an hour behind. So if that's okay with everyone, we can bump things forward half an hour.
I don't think we need a full hour for session.
What's that?
I don't think we need a full hour for session.
Okay.
I think we can probably get away with starting.
Just doing half an hour? Yeah. All right, so sessions are as scheduled. Lunch is at 1300. I guess we're going to group photo before lunch. Karen? Okay. And then, are there actually food carts out?
It's pretty wet.
I don't think that there are.
Foodler.
Order food in.
Probably arrange that.
Or did that just get copied forward?
Would love you guys to help from the levels on board.
That doesn't actually help with which food is good.
It does.
It helps with which food is highly rated.
So one of the things that traditionally is a food cart is Clover, and it has a building indoors. It should have plenty of space and no thing. So.
It does, which does require going outside.
Yes, it does require going outside.
Is that the one that's like right across Mass Ave?
No, it's on Main Street.
It's on
Oh, Main Street.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Aaron reminded me that we should thank our sponsors. So our sponsors, thank you very much, are helping out with. So first of all, MIT for providing us the space. Thank Sandra again when he comes in. Reclaim Hosting is providing a bunch of the breakfast snacks that you've been eating and the lunch. I don't know how we want to do that today, but we could all head over to Clover, I guess. Is it too many people for that, or? Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
we can just,
it's going to be a little difficult to run around.
yeah. But that way you can just be like, I got this, and then people order. All right, let's just do that. Sound good? So we're all over to Clover for lunch, and Reclaim will take care of that. We'll figure out dinner plans tonight, and Mozilla will be into that. Similar kind of, we'll find similar kind of place. There's some like nice burger sandwich places or food pubs. There's, what was the one called we were talking about, Aaron? That Norse god? Asgard?
Asgard.
Right. So there's Asgard's, which I believe is like, has various different food items, so I think that what we were thinking for dinner.
It's a southwestern egg rolls kind of European brew pub.
Mexican, Irish, Norse.
Get that. Yes, sounds great.
Awesome. And then Esri's is providing coffee for both days, so thanks to Esri.
Yeah, Esri.
So, thank you to our sponsors. Alright, and with that, let's go ahead and start doing session. One request, please write on the pads and not on the wall.
Well, many walls in some senses of MIT buildings are dry erase. These are not.
Yeah. Although I kind of feel like there should be some sort of adaptive approach applied. If a wall does get written on, just put a whiteboard over it. Just
Okay, we got 20 minutes for...
You got 20 minutes for session scheduling. So I will go first, since people are not getting up. We did, yeah. Walk outside, right next to the sign, it's right next to it.
I'm sure if we need to build in your spot, I'm just not comfortable with that.
I saw the evening talk of this data and practice. And I think fascinating. There's a law school professor on one end of the spectrum and Esther Dyson in the middle of it. An ethicist on the other end saying, no, actually, this is data is fine. Yeah, and so there was a group of ethicists.
I'm happy for this actually in the session. Yeah, but it's like, if you like try to use it on a mobile browser, which is it's technical now.
And then,
so I had just flipped to the one that was a full page background image.
You get some drawings.
I ended up talking to
so first it was the experience that I was looking at, where that's the first thing you see.
Yeah, so that might be...
Which is not quick over. That's the
first one was extra long. And then I figured 11:02, 11:03. And then I guess
All right, so I'm.
Was it
as good as they said?
And I want to do a session about Vouch, which is
that made me my fault because I was trying to
an extension to what I mentioned, which is a protocol for sending things back to the and Vouch is a way to get it right, eliminate this anonymous spam problem, which actually never happened. As far as I know, no one has gotten anonymous spam on the web yet. It's exciting. It is, though, inevitable to successful. As I mentioned, functionally is no different.
Yeah, so then
my goal is to head up
this is more the like trying to figure out
simple, easy to implement. If you can do that, that's a major
there was so much more spin that could get used for
talk about this pretty early, maybe not like right away, but after lunch.
Doing something Monday morning.
And we do it here.
I might just stay out this
So
afternoon.
I'll put that here.
Just
Yeah. Good.
There we go.
Where did you stay here?
Marriott right here where we met the other day. Yesterday.
Kendall?
It was pretty close. I didn't know there was a front back of it. So I kept walking to the
That's a cute stage, actually, that old rock.
It is fun, it's Chipotle right now.
Matt, I want to make
My favorite
installing
fast, nasty food.
some of the software that already exists easier, so that you can actually not silo.
Ever since,
Is that an apartment?
I guess
It's overly efficient.
sooner rather than later, maybe on that?
yes. during lunch, we're going to Rhode Island for a day. We have friends who live there, so we're spending a night saying hello to them.
How do you think
It's surprisingly close. We drive, but there's also a commuter rail. It's a 1 hour trip. It's part of the country is all compact. It starts to stretch out once you get down towards DC. New York, DC. Yeah.
You grew up here?
No, I grew up in upstate New York.
So this time around,
Where you really need a car to do anything. Saranac Lake?
Mobile navigation.
My mom,
Because it's something
Crown Point,
we struggle with, we were just having a conversation
Oh,
about
that's
it. As soon as you have the building option,
Lake
it
George.
starts to get really, really hard.
Yep, yep.
Well, right.
That's a much bigger lake.
Right.
Yes.
Chat.
Area, she does that, and then she ended up disconnected again and moved to Maryland. Cool. I haven't been up to you guys 30 years. Yeah, more than that. I didn't want to say.
Fascinating place.
It's really cool. It
Amazing.
feels good.
Yeah.
I'm a big County Merchant fan. I think she's in upstate New York somewhere.
It's a good drive. If you ever need to drive cross country, it's worth it. Like going up and hitting 90 across New York.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. You get just beautiful, long, well-tended roads. No advertising.
Have you ever been to Sao Paulo?
No.
Sao Paulo, a huge city, you know, really, probably 10 million people. And they passed an ordinance in the 90s where they don't allow anyone else to
I actually don't have really a whole lot of preference as to where this goes, so maybe I'll set it somewhat to the side and kind of push it in wherever it makes sense. One of the things that I'm interested in, because of this sort of marriage between what we've done, you know, at University of Mary Washington.
So the taxis also take on the car.
My colleague and I started up this business. So
I
what I'm interested in is
find
how people like us can fund the development of this kind of software through by still allowing people to do self-hosted installs. Because, you know, for me, that's been one of the things that I've watched our users on Reclaim Hosting installing Node time and time again, saying, oh, I want to run it in my own space, and I want to run it off my own domain. And the struggle I see from developers of, you know, do I need to lock them in order to get funds? So how can we make that much more seamless by setting up some sort of model to where that makes sense? And then by virtue of that, providing further funding for development of awesome software and build sort of that ecosystem where nobody feels like they've got to have it locked into something that's incredible. And I have no preference on where this goes. If it wants to be later in the evening, that's perfectly fine too. So I'll just set it sort of off here to the side and we can stick it wherever it makes sense.
Yeah, that was a decade of my life, so.
I brought some darker pens, so if you want to write over your sessions that are written in a lighter color so that they can be real world safe.
But take them off the wall before you
So, Jesse, one of the things I would like to talk about is data migration, not the live, real-time, posse peso sort of thing, but I have a lot of legacy data, and getting it into Node, and then at some point maybe getting it into something else, and importing. I mean, yeah, we're all very good at exporting. Importing needs love.
Cool.
What are you doing?
Stuff
I got?
Yes.
Well, in pieces, some black version. It might make sense to move that one session into the other so you can stay in one place.
Yeah, I just don't know how.
It's a distraction. I'm ordering my thoughts.
You okay, Aaron? How was dinner? Or did you just go right to beer? Beer with that. That's what it is. I almost forgot. You've done a really good job with IndieWebCamp. Really. I'm happy. So far ahead of its time. I mean, I don't think it's out of bounds ahead of its time. You know what I mean? It's not jack shit. It's good. On the edge. Yeah, it's perfect. And man, that new sign-up process is so easy. And then when you see it working, you're like, oh, it's working. And yes. Yeah. Black Ghost Code. Is that you on Twitter too?
Oh, you're pointing at the...
Yeah.
Is that zoomed in? It's like... Oh, wow, that's awesome.
The audio's not very good.
Sure. Put that YouTube link on the wiki?
Yes.
There are ways to do it very much. Do you know if that works with their iPhone embedding? Like, can you actually embed this game on your website? That's what it is. That works. That's the reason.
That's true. So we could do that. Yeah.
I want to do a session on seeing how long it takes to install them on that Mac. But it might be a good one for the hacking tomorrow, but I just want to get it done.
Sure.
Like, and see if it takes 2 minutes or it takes forever.
Do you have a current
I
PHP?
want to see what is it about.
Tool?
Ideally, it'll take 15 minutes.
Hopefully. It's a good experience. Sorry, it's a painful experience to watch a good experience. But
I'll put it wherever
the
the
videos that are managed for me. I technically still have root, but I'm not supposed to use it. I've grown to that. Yeah, yeah. The PHP was the page like it's 2 ago because it works.
Really, do you have a Bowie knife? Do you have a Bowie knife?
So there were one too many large clients who paid us to rename it for them. And also, For the most part, they loved it.
The
But, and there was the very rare occasion where we
No, it's too, can't do it. Sorry. I got excited.
My Leatherman is at your house.
Okay. I will use a plastic bag.
That really is successfully never came out. And I got an irate letter from a senior technical person at Network Solutions saying, I was just demoing RTI at our senior management and had it this is really unprofessional. Also, the part that you were talking about, how often there's so that was probably it's still less than an hour to get back to this house.
Yeah.
There's enough, there's enough, like, I have occasionally thought about the Red Hat Task Force, but not my case.
Why is the last year not available in Germany?
It's because of the Gesellschaft für musikalische Aufführungs- und mechanische Vielfalt Musikrechte. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because the stream may contain music that is not properly licensed. So YouTube is just like, don't worry about it. Watch the streamings, we don't have to deal with that now.
Yeah, exactly.
You might play it,
but it's also. Might bring out a lot of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, if you read the review, someone said another issue with cyber, actually.
Wow. So Germany is like self-censoring?
Germany's really good at censoring.
YouTube, Google is just saying, like, just not dealing with the liability.
Can't they just use an IP proxy?
Yeah. Somebody set one up yesterday for cyber camp, but well, what happened to it? That was weird.
Eventually they will run out.
So you really don't have to.
They don't know more. I mean, we just work there. It'll be good. Yeah. No.
I realize that, but I realize there's one fact. I knew it was a very short password. That's always like.
Yeah.
Change constantly, but.
Existing.
Yeah. It's just already run.
I have a problem with that, this thing, fully right back.
Yeah.
Good
Back
night.
in the day, people used to do the number, but then half people that.
Every hundred is not uses.
Hold on, I'm not
They
gonna
have great
But
fences.
that means that somebody would come from
Sorry, it's me spaces.
figure out which one to pass or.
Honestly, but it still needs more love, right?
Like old school.
It's still hard, difficult, and still. It's still the C panel thing, and like, no, that's cool. And have it up to date, that'd be great.
Yeah, and the problem is that very few people have that. I mean, we.
Very nice.
Our own. Kind of in these very. Yeah, well, when we did our initial research. Aaron, what's the name of that we've never heard of before? Yeah, nearly free speech.
Oh, yeah. So they're very cheap.
1, 2, 3.
25 cents.
Yeah, yeah, super cheap. Basically, everybody we talk to.
What is that? It's like a Shakespearean. Purple hair.
All right, it's almost noon. Does anyone have any ideas for discussion sessions they want to do, or need have an idea but need help figuring out how to make it into a discussion session? Anyone? I've got one more topic that I want to talk about in a smaller group, which is indie comms. Essentially, how to use your indie website as a way for people to contact you. I have this somewhat working now, and I'd like to both help anyone who's interested in figuring out how to do that for their own website, as well as figure out what is a good approach to take for making your homepage the first place for anyone that wants to contact you to go to, and then contact you from there. So it's kind of a UI, UX, maybe a little bit of hacking type session. So I'm going to put it near the end of the day as well. Put it at the open seating area.
Here's the thing, they keep saying, I found your website, I'm like, how? Because I don't think it's easy to find on purpose. I could have come if we buried the mailing address for the office, way the hell deep in the website. People still find it, medically done.
3 o'clock is.
People want to contact you, they will.
I have, I try to make contact, get that right, just has it on the jump page.
Yeah.
And including my phone number, which are things. And the.
Is your phone number or your Google Voice number?
It's my Google Voice.
Okay, yeah.
But but what happens is I've got to hook up to WhatsApp, and the only thing people use it for is to send out on WhatsApp. Very strange. There's a surprising amount of spam.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on WhatsApp, and that's why there's a lot of spam.
Yeah.
How many people are?
My phone, if my phone rings, it's because I'm still in the support from my previous job. So I basically watch, on the screen every call.
And then as you can see, there's a bunch of stuff that you can just install and get stuff working. I'd say the known is right now the most
Get rid of the old one.
Yeah, I do get rid of it.
It's
$10.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. I mean, yeah, I would do that. It's,
but it's, what are the guys?
We just signed up with it. We paid $20 a month.
Oh my God, they gave us, right?
2 different geographic offices.
And then we have another Ben Ward on
the whole
IFC channel.
menu system where it's
Which gets confusing because he's Ben Ward,
Yeah.
pretty easy to set up.
We just closed down our area, so we don't know where now we live on the office. It's great. We all how many? It's not like people hear that and they're like, we're just going to save $100,000 a year by not having a freaking office in Mountain View, which is the difference.
Yeah. I was going to say it's a hell of a commute, right?
From Boston, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so tired on Sunday. I got to get up at midnight every day to get to work, you know.
I
Like,
don't have on your gram set up.
so I get a lot of JetBlue points out of it.
No. That's not
Can you get direct jet from here to?
Nice.
You to Mountain View? Yeah, they just kind of fly over the Bay Area and push you out the window. Yeah.
No, that I would take that.
Yeah.
It would be
You would take that once. It's good.
It would be airline service only for people who have already been jump certified.
Right. And only people who work in like the full tech industry go to Mountain View too, right?
They'd only drop you over like available jump sites to everyone.
So that new Apple campus is actually just a giant trampoline. That's what's happening.
Right. Trampoline / jump site.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's 12 o'clock. So we have 2 sessions going on now. In here, the main room, Matt L. is going to talk about Installer Made Easy and how do we, I guess, make that happen for more IndieWeb projects.
Right, yeah, basically,
Not to put words
all
in your
these
mouth.
things we have that require you to know how Git works and other things like that.
Yep.
Making them as easy to install as we saw Gnome was on that cPanel thing earlier on.
And then Willow is doing a session on script for the overview video. For those of you who haven't seen it, Willow did an amazing animated, like explaining what the IndieWeb is and how it works and why you should care video. And I think she's like soliciting input for ways to improve that and potentially to add an audio track. Cool. All right. And that's over by the open seating area. So. And then let's all meet back here, like maybe like a few minutes before 1. So session organizers, if you can make sure to wrap up your session maybe like 5 minutes before, and then we can head out to lunch. Cool. We should just keep live streaming this session, I think, right?
I'm kind of giving it in this room the whole time.
Can you do like a different archive for each session?
Yeah, I can make a new event for each one, basically.
Cool. That's awesome. That way, the permalinks can be like, here's the actual session discussions that happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop.